Good afternoon. I am Kihoon Nam, CTO of Lambda256. There are many people in the audience today. It is very exciting and an honor for me to present what Lambda is doing. Today, I would like to take this opportunity to think about the technologies for utilizing and processing blockchain data. For those of you here today, there could be people who are knowledgeable about blockchain data and some who are not so familiar. To help your understanding, let me talk about what blockchain data is, and I would also like to talk about how Lambda conducts ETL. Let me share with you some experience as well as our future look on blockchain data. So, why is blockchain data is important and what is ETL? ETL, as many people are aware, starts from extracting data from the source and then transforming and then loading on the target. And so ETL is a process. In order to analyze and utilize blockchain data, you need ETL. Let's talk about why blockchain data is so important. The blockchain market, or the blockchain-based market, continues to grow, and in 2027, it is expected that it will take up 10% of the global GDP, which means that there will be more demand for technologies to analyze blockchain data, and the value of blockchain data will go up. But as you're well aware, blockchain data is transparent. Anybody can see the data, but does it mean that it could be used right away? The blockchain data is in blocks, and therefore it's very difficult to utilize directly. And I will talk about this later on in my presentation. So, as I have already mentioned, in order to take a deep look into the blockchain data, we use this DIKW pyramid. DIKW pyramid categorizes the blockchain data into data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. At the very bottom is D, which is data. Data is raw data. It is not processed. And in the blockchain, as you can see in the picture, there are block information as well as the transaction information. But just because you read this data doesn't mean that you can utilize it. The transaction data on the blocks are encoded, and so it cannot be utilized directly. That is when we need ETL. And in blockchains, this is called blockchain indexing. Through blockchain indexing, we are able to transform data, and as you have seen in the previous example, we are able to decode the data, and we are also able to see the transaction data as well as the account data, the smart contract data, the native tokens, the smart contract tokens, as well as the records related to transactions. And so through primary processing, you can have scan or explorers. But what if you need more useful information? In the knowledge stage, you are able to understand the relationship between data, and you are able to analyze meaningful patterns and have insights. For example, which are the accounts that have the most transactions? Or where is all this asset going to? If it is criminal proceedings, through the transactions, you can decide who is the primary suspect and the secondary suspect. And even if it's not virtual assets, you can also use blockchains for logistical systems. And if there are any issues in the logistical system, you are able to see what impacts these challenges and what is the most effective way of moving goods. And so, when you go from information to knowledge, you need visualization or you need additional analysis to figure out the patterns. And then what is the next level? That is W of DIKW, which is wisdom. So we go from data to information to knowledge to wisdom. And so you are adding predictions and decision making for wisdom. Let's say that you found a transaction pattern that you want to know, so you get an early alarm to prevent crimes, or you can actually stop transactions at an exchange using wisdom. For logistical systems, you can predict the movement of goods. So in the end, blockchain data comes from data to information to knowledge, and based on predictions, you can go all the way to wisdom. And so, in order to go all the way to wisdom, you need AI or heuristic technologies. So, can this be done by anyone? That's actually not true. Blockchain data is quite big. So, there are thousands of terabytes of data per chain. And so you need to synchronize the nodes, and that actually could take days or weeks. It's large and it's complex. And the hard fork or reorg protocol changes that happen on the blockchain, it has to be handled. And that is a way we can check the validity of these blockchains. And so in order to do all of this, you need to understand blockchains. Even if it's a single chain, there are different clients, and they may have different schemas. These are issues that we can predict, and so we can handle this. But when we established our ETL system, we came across unexpected challenges as well. So, for example, anyone can issue a smart contract, and so there are regulations that are used, but sometimes the regulations are not followed by some, or sometimes the regulations are added later. Let's say we have ERC 5679. When you mint the token, you have to issue an event. But as you're well aware, stable coins such as USDC, when they mint tokens, they don't issue events. And so you cannot find these events if you just follow the regulations. And so in order to deal with all of this data, you have to find all of the hidden transactions by analyzing smart contracts. But what about a company that provides services using such data? It may not be worth it. So even if you do have the data, in order to earn knowledge, you would need to do secondary processing. Then it would mean that you would need a data warehouse and a pipeline, and that would lead to a huge cost because of a large infrastructure. If you're not a company with a business model on data, but rather a service company, then you would not want to bear this burden. A service company should focus on service, and they should not have to think about the processing and the analysis. That is why we actually provide a product for clients that need different types of data, from data, information to knowledge and wisdom, so that they can focus on their services. We have Nodit, DataSquare, and Claire. Nodit works with node infrastructure and blockchain data, and they do search APIs. The DataSquare house deals with the warehousing and the pipeline, and the Claire actually provides visualization. And so we provide our products for various needs. So how do we create our ETL? First, concerning Nodit, in order to create information out of data, we have full node for our archives and chains, and the data extracted are optimized in real time through data indexing, and our data warehouse and indexing systems are used to provide services. Nodit provides the index data and Web3 infrastructure. It's a development platform, and we provide tools to search various data. Through RPC API, you can directly read or write on the blockchain network. If you use webhook or stream, you can subscribe to the data that you need in real time. The data processed in different information levels can be searched with our REST API or GraphQL API. Knotted currently serves Ethereum, Polygon, Optimism, and Base, and Arbitrum and Aptos and Kaya. And soon we will be supporting Bitcoin's Doge, Tron, and Riffle chains. And our two APIs, RPC API and Data API, are supported by Knotted. For RPC API, we have our nodes ourselves, and we provide 24-hour services, and it's a scalable API, and as needed, we can have dedicated nodes for you. If I may boast about Knotted, thanks to its safety, it's being used by Coin1 of Korea, and Eric1, which is a Web3 gaming platform, needs very high transaction throughput, and they are providing stable services through our services. For Data API, we have fast response speed and high throughput, and Upbeat also utilizes our system. So what can you do with this data warehouse? As you see in the diagram, data warehouse is at the center, and on the left side, we have the dashboard that visualizes the data as well as a search tool for queries, and that is the public version of our data square, and this public version can be seen on our website. On the dashboard, we have the time series activities for Ethereum and Arbitrum, and you can also use transaction data for Tornado Cash. Through the query tool, you can query for the data that you need, and you are able to be provided with various types of data. On the right side, we have the data pipelines for those who need our warehousing and data. Our data square pipelines can be customized to cloud or on-premise, whatever the type that you need as our client. I mentioned that the public version of DataSquare can be seen by anyone on our website, and I wanted to show you through this video. Along with the indexes that you see here, we continue to add more indexes. Knotted and DataSquare has been established, and in that process, we have built our understanding and know-how of blockchain data, and based on this, we continue to establish our high-quality data warehouse. And recently, we have signed collaborative relations with strategic partners such as Laptos, and we are continuing to expand our client base. What comes next for us? For those of you here today, we will be opening the MVP version of Claire for the first time. It's an MVP version, and so we have not added the design yet. Let me talk about Claire that you just saw. Blockchains have transactions between accounts, and transaction means that asset is moving from one account to another. On blockchains, most of these relations are scattered, and in order to analyze the relations and flow, it would be very difficult to look at every chapter, and so we need a tool to be able to see all of the relations and flow. Claire brings together the knowledge graph, so it's not fragmented information, but you can see the overall picture. The knowledge graph for Claire brings together atypical data, and it is scalable. Not only are you able to use on-chain data, but transaction value or crime reports, so it can be combined with off-chain data, and it can lead to bigger relations, and it could lead to new insights. And the knowledge graph can have searches, augmentation, generation, and it can be used for graph rags as well. Based on this, you are able to create transparent and highly trustworthy LLM models on the blockchain. What we believe to be the next for blockchain is to provide the Gen 2 platform and go on to AI platforms. The way ahead is, just like any other company, I believe, is to go towards wisdom. Not only through Claire, but through various attempts, we will continue to converge on-off chain data, and we continue to expand our collaboration with industry partners. And we believe that it will help the expansion of blockchain technology as well as the market expansion. We continue to make efforts to add value to blockchain data, and we look forward to your support. Thank you very much.